So, today we bring you the second part of the Squid Game for those who watched the first part. Those who haven't watched the first episode, watch it now. So, let's get to today's story. Here is the second episode of the world-famous Squid Game series. Squid Game Hell! A retelling. Gi-hun gasped for air as the blinding light hit his eyes. One moment, he had been running for his life in that horrifying game of red light, green light, and now he was being dragged back into the massive hall alongside the remaining survivors. The masked guards in red jumpsuits stood motionless, their guns ready. Frontman, the shadowy figure in the black mask, loomed above, his deep voice cutting through the tense silence. As per the agreement, the games will continue unless the majority votes to end them. A giant digital scoreboard flickered on, revealing the massive prize pool, 45.6 billion won, stacked up high in a glass piggy bank. The players stared, their breath heavy with fear, exhaustion and temptation. The voting began. Each player stepped forward, one by one, pressing either a red button to continue or a green button to leave. It came down to one final vote, player 001, the old man. He smiled and pressed green. The majority had chosen to leave, a collective exhale of relief. The masked men, bound by their own rules, returned the players to their real lives. Back in the real world one by one, the contestants were blindfolded, stuffed into vans, and dropped off in random locations. Gi-hun landed in the middle of a deserted street, cold and confused. He stumbled home, only to find his mother sick and in debt, her legs swollen from untreated diabetes. The hospital bills loomed over them like a death sentence. Meanwhile, Sang-woo, the former investment manager, sat in his tiny apartment, drowning in the realization that his crimes had left him bankrupt and wanted by the police. He stared at the business card for the game, temptation gnawing at him. Across town, Se-byok, the North Korean defector, tried to retrieve the money a conman had stolen from her. She needed it to rescue her little brother from the orphanage and smuggle her mother out of the north. She cornered the conman, pressing a knife to his throat, but he laughed. "You think money falls from the sky?" Deok-soo, the violent gangster, barely escaped a death sentence of his own. His former gang had discovered his betrayal, and now they were out for his blood. He fled, knowing they would hunt him down soon. Even the old man, Il-nam, sat alone, drinking cheap beer at a convenience store. With no family and a terminal illness, what was there to lose? A desperate choice. With nowhere else to turn, Gi-hun sought help from his ex-wife, only to learn that her new husband planned to take their daughter, Ga-yong, to the US. The thought of losing her crushed him. In his desperation, he visited the police, telling them everything about the mysterious game. But they laughed until one young officer, Detective Hwang Jun-ho, took interest. His brother had gone missing recently, and Gi-hun's story seemed eerily familiar. One by one, the former players found themselves at the edge of despair. And then, like fate, they all received the same invitation, a single phone call, a choice. Gi-hun hesitated, but finally called the number. "Do you wish to participate again?" "Yes, back to the game." Once again, black vans roamed the streets, picking up the desperate souls. This time, they entered willingly. As Gi-hun's eyes closed, the gas knocked him unconscious. When he awoke, he was back in the eerie dormitory. The giant piggy bank above them glowed with the promise of untold riches. The games were about to begin again, and this time they all knew there was no turning back. Part 2 ends here. So, see you soon for Part 3. Until then, keep me subscribed. See you in the next video. Have a nice day.